Ben.
Stravete.
And welcome back to our little Bulgarian adventure.
Well, we've had quite a pleasant week, haven't we?
We have. We've had lovely weather, with the exception of Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday was a bit wet.
It rained all day Tuesday, but light rain and nothing horrible.
Helping to bed my pathways in, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, they've been a real boon. We can't. The stone we took up when we did the concreting outside the front of the house, we've used to make little pathways.
And we should have done it years ago, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Well, we didn't have the stone then, though, did we? So,
but it's made such a difference, especially walking across the dog compound.
Yeah. Which the minute you get rain on just turns into a.
But we have noticed the dogs use them as well, don't they?
The dogs go up and down the paths a lot.
So yeah. So that was a success.
And we haven't concreted them in because we're not totally sure if that's where we want them.
And it's a more natural look if they don't get concreted in, aren't they? It's more kind of rustic.
Yeah, we don't want as... although we put concrete around the house, that was a bit... because we just felt it was safer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, they've worked well. But we've turned our attention, because of the weather, to outside.
Yes, we had good weather. We did go to Hitchner Market.
We did, yes. Yeah.
Lots of cabbage.
Lots and lots of cabbage. If you want a cabbage, Bulgaria's the place to be at the moment. Yeah. They're everywhere.
Yeah, really cheap, really good looking cabbage.
Oh yeah, big, massive, great big cabbages.
Yeah. Yes, with the good weather this week, we've mainly been doing quite a bit of outdoor work.
Yep, I've been in the barn and you've been working on the land.
Yes, one of the big jobs this time of year is walnut leaves. We've got quite a few walnut trees.
As you know, yeah.
And quite a few big walnut trees.
And walnut trees have big leaves, don't they?
They do. And although I leave a lot of the leaves down on the ground and don't bother raking them, the walnut leaves mat and it just become really slippery and aren't stop everything growing through them. So we do try and we had to come up with a...
Yes, we thought we've got to do something about this.
Yeah.
Something sensible.
Too much.
So that leads into our first project this week.
Yeah, which was leaf bins.
This is how we did it. We're continuing our race to get jobs outside done before the weather gets really bad. There's one job that we want to do this year that involves these leaves. Now, as you can imagine, they're everywhere. They're out the front, they're in the woodland, they're here at the front of the barn. What we want to do is build a couple of leaf bins so you can rake the leaves up, put them in the leaf bins, they'll compost down, and over the course of the next year, 2 years, become usable to put on the garden and use as compost. So today's job, build some leaf bins. Now the construction of these leaf bins is very simple. It's a few stakes and some wire mesh. Now I'll bang the stakes into the ground, put the wire mesh around, staple it in place, and hopefully that'll be it. So I've laid out the roll of netting. It's 10 metres long. We're making two, so it makes sense to make them 5 metres circumference each. That's about there. So my next job, cut this in two and see where they stand. So that's one leaf store ready for filling up. It doesn't have to be any sturdier than this because there's no real weight going against the sides. It's going to be leaves. What we're going to do now is rake up the leaves, put them in, and that's them beginning to compost, ready for next year, maybe the year after. So there you have it. That's our 2 leaf bays, leaf bins, call them what you want. We started filling them up. The plan is get all the leaves, put them in. A couple of years time, we'll have compost.
It's a fairly long-term project, the walnut leaves, because they don't compost down very well. But they will compost if you leave them long enough.
Yeah, and there's no hurry to move them, is there?
No.
They're nice and secure in their bins.
And it does allow me to clear the ground so
Yeah.
other things can grow through.
So it just helps tidy the place up, which is what we're trying to do this time of year.
Yeah, it seems a never-ending battle. Though I think we're probably down now. Less than 20% of our walnut leaves remain.
Yes, we need a strong gusty wind down, then it'll be gone.
Yeah, but I think it's been something like 42 barrels so far.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
It's been a lot of walnut leaves.
But it happens every year. I don't know why we're surprised.
No.
So while Lou's been working on outside projects, I've been working on something that's been both in the house and in the barn.
Yes.
This is what I've been doing.
If you've been following us for a while, you're probably aware that this is our dining room area and living room. And just through the gap here is our kitchen. Now we've designed it this way so that there's a big opening here. The pets could down in the kitchen, which obviously we cook on and heats. And the heat comes up, heats up this room. So this room and the kitchen are lovely and warm. Now this works perfectly, but there was one problem we didn't foresee. You can see that in the past we put this rail up to hang a curtain from. Well, we don't need the curtain up there anymore. What we do need is a bit of a more solid barrier to stop the cats from going down in the kitchen when we're cooking. What we've come up with is the idea of one of those sliding barn doors. I've got the kit for the rail. I've got to make the door. I've got to hang the door. That will then give us a barrier so that when we're cooking, we can close the door, the cats can't get through. So I'm down in the barn now to prepare the wood and make the door that we're going to put in the living room to stop the cats getting into the kitchen. There's 2 parts to this. The first part is where we're hanging the rail from. Now, I'd rather not drill straight into the wall because to hang it on just a few points, I think will be a bit weak for a door that's hanging. So I've got a piece of wood here that I'm going to prepare, sand, smooth. That will then be mounted on the wall and the rail will be mounted onto the piece of wood. Hopefully that will give me a stronger bond to the wall and not allow it to move in the future. If it does, I've just got a piece of wood to replace rather than mend the wall. The second thing is I'm going to be making the door out of tongue and groove. Now, this also will need sanding and finishing when it's finished, but they'll all clip together. It's lightweight enough that it's not putting excessive weight onto the rail, and hopefully should give us a nice finish. I'll know soon, won't I? So first things first, bit of sanding. That's the supporting piece of wood now, sanded. I've used my router table to put an edge on it, just so that it's not a corner, it's a nice rounded over corner there, or a nice rounded over edge. And it's ready now for me to stain it. We're going to stain it the same colour as the rest of the woodwork in the room, so it all blends in. If we don't like it, if it's too much wood effect, then it'll get painted the colour of the living room door when we come to paint that. So it'll give us a chance to live with it, see what it's like, and decide whether we like it. Now, I'm now going to stain this and put it to one side. Now I'll start making the door. So this will be my door. I've been through the tongue and groove wood and I've picked up the 9 best pieces to make the front surface of the door. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a trim down the tongue of this bit and the groove of this bit, just to square the wood up. Then I need to glue them together. So once I've done that, I can then put bracing on the door with the rest of the tongue and groove. But first things first, let's get this trimmed and glued. Well, that's the door glued up. You can see it's clamped to hold it in place while it dries. I've only got 2 big clamps, so in the middle I've had to use an extender, but that's fine. It'll hold it in place while the glue goes off, and it won't just be glued. There'll be strengthening battens from side to side, which will also hold it as a flat surface. But for now, I can't do much more with this until it does dry. So I'm going to put a second coat of stain on the other piece of wood. That can then be drying up, and hopefully by then I'll be able to continue with this. It's the next morning now, and the glue's been drying overnight, and we now have one solid door front. But the story doesn't end there. I've got a sander back here, and then I've got to fit braces around it just to strengthen it up, give it a bit of added thickness top and bottom. Then sand the other side, stain it all, and it'll be ready for hanging. So there's a few bits still to do, but my first job is sanding. So I'm ready to straighten up that bottom edge of the door and the top. So what I've done is I've got my square, I've set it so that I know exactly what horizontal is, set my guide up next to it with enough room to take off about 5mm off the bottom of the door, trim it, and that will give me a nice finish. Do the top, and that will give me on my final length of the door. I'm ready to fit the first of the cross braces, and I'm going to basically glue it and screw it so that it's doubly held. Got my glue, got my brush, let's do it. And that's the bracing fitted. We've got a piece top and bottom, then 2 side pieces and a piece across the middle. That gives it enough stability now as a door that it should hang straight. My next job before I stain this side is to flip it over and sand the other side. Well, that's the sanding complete. It's now time to put the stain on the back of the door. Well, it's now the following morning and it's got colder. Well, you can tell I've got the scarf and the hat on. But we had our first frost last night, so that was quite chilly. But it's time to carry on with the door. Now, it's had its first coat of stain on this side. The other side we've decided we're actually going to paint to match the other door. So we're leaving that without anything on it at the moment. That'll be painted in situ. I've now got to fit on the roller bits. Now the roller bits fit on the top of the door and hang off the rail. So they need to be the same level, the same distance away from the sides, basically as square as I can get them. So that's my next job, fit the hangers on the door. So I need to make sure that they're level with each other and the same distance from the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the square here. There's a little 1 mark there which I'm going to line up with the very edge, like so. Make sure that's all lined up and square. Put this into the position that I want it, and I'm going to put a dent in the middle of each point where the holes that need to be drilled. So what I need to do now is transfer that information to this end. That's square. Yeah, that looks square. Just check it the other way as well. And make the mark. So I've got the 2 hangers on now. They've got the little rollers on that go onto the rail so it can slide backwards and forwards. They're square, they're the same height as each other. I'm now ready to move everything up to the house and install my door. Well, I'm back up at the house now, and I've brought up the door with me, ready to hang. I brought the board I've prepared that it's going to hang from. But first things first, I've got to remove this bar before I carry on, so let's get that out of the way. Well, now that the rail's down, I need to put this up on the wall at the right height. Now, to work out the right height, it's about propping up the door so that it's the right distance off the floor and working out where the rail goes. So I need to put the rail on the wood so that we can offer that up, see the height, and then attach the wood to the wall at the right height. So I'm now putting the rail on, and it works basically, it's got a few of these spacer pieces that sit on the wood. The rail goes together, screws through into the wood, and it holds everything in place. So let's see how we do. Okay, then. That's in there. And now I'm going to make sure it's all straight and square and then tighten it up properly. But once we've done that, we're ready to see what the proper height should be to fix it to the wall. So I've got my board now with the rail on it ready to put up. Now I've drilled some holes through the rail here, and I've transferred the marks onto the wall so that I could now drill into the wall, put in rule plugs, and attach this to the wall ready to hang the door. This is the crucial bit because obviously it's got to be tight. So I'll make the holes, put the plugs in, and see how we do. Well, that's the rail on the wall. It's actually showing me quite considerably how unflat my wall is. There's lumps and bumps all over the place, but I can deal with that in the future. But for now, it's up and it's solid. So, moment of truth. Let's see if my measurements were correct and the door fits. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? There are a few bits left to do, one of which is to fit these pieces on the outside edge of the door to stop the door from swinging out and open. Now, they're easy enough to fit, a couple of screws. What I do is I just put it in place so I can see where it's going. Move the door out of the way, and I can screw the pilot holes. And that's how that works. Well, that's the door in place, doing its job. It needs painting, we'll get to that, but I think that's a job well done.
So yes, the main drive behind that was the cats in the kitchen.
They are a nightmare when you're cooking or chopping up anything or doing
Their
it.
favourite sound is the sound of chopping onion, isn't it?
Or tomatoes.
That
which-
brings them flocking.
Yeah. The minute I start chopping onions up, they come running out to the kitchen, but I think it's probably because they know I'm going to get meat out next.
Very possibly, yeah.
But-
And I'd find myself locking myself in the cellar if I'm doing any sausage maker or
And then
anything
they
like
just
that.
line the steps, waiting for the chance to get through the door.
So the line has been drawn, and the line is that door.
Yeah. So we never intended putting the door there. It was always meant part of the heating plan for this room was
Yes.
to keep it open so that the heat came up from the
And
petrol.
it will be open most of the time, just closed when we're cooking.
Yeah, so it's quite a lightweight door, but
Yeah.
we didn't need anything heavy, so it's not insulating in any way, it's just a barrier.
Yeah. But we'll let you know next week how well it's worked.
Yeah, they've inspected it.
They have looked at it and gone, what on earth is this? But so far we haven't used it when we've been cooking. So
No. You only finished it last night, didn't you?
yeah.
So we've got to get a handle and paint it.
But it's very nearly there, so that'll be a job well done.
And we're debating whether we actually will need a bolt,
I think we will.
because it does move really easily on the gliders.
And Engelbert is not a silly cat.
No, he's managed to open door handles,
Fridges, you name
many
it,
other
you get
things.
in there.
So we think we may need a little bolt on the
Yeah.
inside, on the kitchen side, to go through to the floor so we can lock it into place.
Yeah, so that could be coming next week. We won't bother showing you, but unless we're showing you the cat's not being able to open the door.
Yeah.
That could be amusing.
Or the cat's opening the door, which I'm sure will
Well,
happen
yeah.
fairly quickly.
Yeah.
We've got bets on, haven't we? How many days it takes them to work out. We're not going weeks because we
No.
don't think it's going to be that long.
Yes, the smart money's on before the end of Sunday.
But yeah, so we've had quite a busy little week. Lovely
have.
weather,
Yeah.
and beautiful weather today and tomorrow.
And it's supposed to be getting better next week, apart from Tuesday. What
Which
is
is
it with
rainy.
Tuesdays?
Rainy Tuesdays.
Oh, what a band they were.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think you're probably up to date with us for this week.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else we've got to tell you.
No. So until next week, it's time for us to say,
Stay safe.
be well,
Dos Coro.
dos coro.